Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Noah back again with another video. If you're new to my channel, thank you guys for tuning in. I am here to help people awaken to their true abilities and make spirituality understanding for the majority of you guys. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about how our consciousness has been hijacked and how we are living in a spiritual warfare as of right now, and how it kind of correlates to the whole Great Awakening. So yeah, I think that the government, there's a lot of things that are behind the scenes. I think there are a lot of hidden agendas that are going on. 90% of all major corporations are owned by, 90% of all media, that means social media, the news, MSM, mainstream media, 90% of mainstream media is owned by 6 major corporations. So these 6 corporations control what everybody sees on social media and the news and whatnot. So with that being said, you have to ask yourself, like, well, if that's the case, then what's going on? You know what I mean? Like, I wonder what they want us to see, and through these news outlets and things that we see on social media and the news, it instills fear into us, and the more and more fear we have, the easier the easier we're being able to be controlled. So think about it like this way. If you are in fear, you're going to act on emotion. Say if someone held a gun to your head, you know what I mean? You're going to be fearful. So you're going to do whatever that person tells you to do because you're really afraid in that moment. I mean, most people, not everybody, but, most people, if you have a gun to your head, you know what I mean? Most likely you're going to do what the person with the gun to your head is asking you to do, which is probably give them something of yours or whatever. But yeah, so I think with that, the more and more fear they can instill in us, the more and more easier it is to be able to control how we feel and what we do, because when we're in fear, then we act on emotion. So, with this whole COVID-19 thing, Bill Gates wants to release these new vaccinations or whatever. And, with these whole vaccinations, people are in fear of coronavirus. So he's pushing these vaccinations that we don't really know we don't even know what's going on with the whole vaccine thing in general. Like, we don't know what these vaccines are coming from. Like, we don't know anything about it. Bill Gates is just like, oh yeah, this will really help with preventable, COVID cases, when in reality, COVID is killing less than 1% of the people on this planet, and in the United States, to be specific. But I'm not saying that it's not real, you know what I mean? But I am saying that it's not lethal at all, compared to the drinking, the stats from drinking and driving, you know what I mean? Nicotine addiction, tobacco addiction, all these different things we're not really taking into consideration when we're thinking about the people who are dying from COVID. These are just things that are being pushed out through the media and through media outlets that are, keeping us in fear. So you have to ask yourself, like, what's going on here? Like, why is everyone, because we have to think about it this way, right? There is how, like, these media outlets portray stuff is there's a problem, they'll release a problem, or I like to call it the plandemic, because it was, premeditated. They knew that this was going to happen. But so they create a problem, COVID-19, right? Fucking made in COVID-19 was from a wet market in China. You know, people were eating bats and snakes. So if you eat, you know what I mean? If you're eating animals unconsciously, you know, the world, everything happens for a reason. So the universe is going to get you back. You know, I'm sorry, but that's just how it is. If you eat bats and snakes, you know, animals that aren't supposed to be eaten, you know what I mean? Exotic animals. But so yeah, but they won't even tell you that. So that's the problem, right? The solution would be, the reaction would be us in fear. You know, we're afraid that the coronavirus is going to get extracted onto us. You know, solution, us wearing masks. You know what I mean? Which is cutting off the circulation. It's making us it's making us not be able to breathe as much. And it's also just, you know, really bad to breathe in the carbon dioxide that you're breathing out back into yourself. You know, it's weakening our immune systems, but they don't want to tell you that. You know, they're just saying, oh, you know, these are surgical doctors' masks that we're putting on our face. These are masks that people put on their face when they fucking do surgeries on people. And when, you know, if they're fucking sick, you know, these aren't masks that we're not supposed to be wearing masks on a day-to-day basis. It's not healthy for us. It's like literally fucking surgical masks that doctors use to operate surgeries on people. That's what we're putting on our face every single day. You know what I mean? And it's like, so that's the solution, face masks, and then vaccines. You know what I mean? So problem, reaction, solution. You know, it's just another way to keep us in fear, you know, in a lower state of consciousness. Because like I said before, if we're in fear, we're a lot easier to be controlled. You know, if we can think for ourselves and we start to ask questions, you know what I mean? We're not as easily being controlled. You know, we can't be controlled as easily. You know, the government governs our mental state of consciousness. You know what I mean? It's everywhere, you know. Fucking, what else do I want to talk about in this video? Yeah, like, I just think it's, you know, it's ridiculous that we have to, you know, be in fear just from the things on the news. You know what I mean? Like, have you ever seen the news? Like, have you ever seen anything positive on the news? Like, why is it that 90% of the news is negative? Have you ever wondered why? Like, why? Why is 99% of the news negative? Is it because that's the only thing that's happening in the world? Of course not. That's not the only thing that's happening in the world. And you know what I mean? There's other shit that's happening that these news outlets and media don't even show. Like, what happens to all the fucking kids that just go missing? You know what I mean? Where are they being taken to? The 800,000 kids that are being missing every single year. You know, they don't talk about that. You know, I'm not saying I know what fucking happens to those kids, but I'm not saying that I know what happens to those kids, because I don't. But I am saying that I don't think it's fucking good. You know, if all those kids are coming up missing, and, you know, fucking sex trafficking is a thing, you know, that's not talked about on the news. So it's like, you have to question, like, why are they only showing the COVID deaths in the world? You know, why aren't they showing, because 90% of it's negative, right? So why don't you actually show what's actually going on with these kids coming up missing? Or, you know, fucking these pedophiles. Like, why don't you expose these pedophiles that are out here, you know, doing horrible things to these little children, you know? And so, yeah, I think our consciousness as a collective has been hijacked. And, you know, I think that's just, that's a great thing for, like, it's not a great thing that our consciousness has been hijacked, but, you know, it's an opportunity for us to be able to take a step back and be like, and not just accept everything that we see, you know, and really start to question things that we see on the social media. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, it's not like these things aren't really doing any good for our mental health. Like, why don't they talk about, you know, all the fucking trees that are being chopped down, you know, all these fucking, how, like, over 1 billion animals die every single year. You know, like, why aren't they talking about that? So yeah, it's like they've hijacked our consciousness through media, through the news outlets, you know, through fast food, you know what I mean? Promoting through fast food promotion as well. Promoting all these just dangerous foods for us, like, that aren't really good at all. But yeah, so I think it's important for us to, you know, to just start to question things, man. Like, don't see everything and just take it as you see it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, man. I think there's a lot of other shit going on, and I think especially during this time, a lot of people are starting to ask questions, and they're starting to wake up and to realize that we are all spiritual beings, which is nothing that we've been taught in school, you know, or anything like that. You know what I mean? I think one of the most powerful moments in my life was when I mirror gazed for like the first or second time. And, you know, I just realized that, like, no one ever told me how really important I was, you know, in my life. And it's like, that's true for every single person on this planet. Like, we're literally all like living angels. We all have an auric field, you know. We just because necessarily we can't see it, you know, doesn't mean that it's not there. You know, we can only see less than like 1% of the electromagnetic spectrum, meaning visible light, you know, meaning we're practically blind. So yeah, it's like, you know, we need to start asking questions, and we need to start taking our power back. You know what I mean? I think a lot of us, it's hard to get caught up in like all this media stuff and everything that's going on in the news. You know what I mean? And I think it's hard, or I think it's easy to get caught up in that stuff, but I think it's also important to just realize that, you know, we are allowed to take our power back. You know, we can say no to things, and we're allowed to, you know, that's something that's been a problem for me. You know what I mean? Just saying no, and just, you know, being gullible. I guess I've pretty much been gullible for a lot, for the majority of my life, you know, and just believing a lot of the things that I hear from different people. And, you know, being free is your birthright. You know what I mean? We're all born with this birthright to be free. You know what I mean? And with that being said, you know, your thoughts create your reality. You're able to do whatever you want. You know, you just have to have the right mindset. And you have to just be grateful, man. Like, be grateful that you're here. Because, you know, we have a 400 trillion to 1, I think, ratio of even being a human. So just you being here is a gift, you know, in and of itself. But, yeah, it's like, why, yeah, like, I want to talk about school a little bit as well before I wrap it up. School. They don't really teach you a lot of, like, real history. Like, they, you know, a lot of this history that they teach you is, like, you know, based on our presidents, and they don't really go in context, like, about slavery. Like, a lot of the things that I learned about slavery was outside of school, to be honest with you, because of, you know, things that I watched and things that I read about. And, like, even from people telling me, like, you know, like, fuck, like, I didn't even really get, like, like, when I was taught slavery in school, like, it wasn't, like, it was, like, kind of just this thing that was, like, oh, yeah, they were slaves, and, like, and they were treated, you know, they always had to, obey, you know, the white people, and they would trade slaves and different things. No, it was a lot worse than that. And, like, you know, there's fucking dark things that were happening to, like, these slaves and shit. And it's, yeah, and it's weird how it even, like, you know, it even to some extent relates, you could relate it to right now, you know. 13th is a great documentary. I recommend every one of you guys to watch that. It really, you know, it really shows in detail what Black people deal with on a day-to-day basis, and it's very eye-opening, and it's very, you know, it's just very informative. And so that one was a good one. But yeah, back to the whole school thing. I just don't think that they teach you. I think it's kind of like watered down information that they just, you know, that they just like want you to teach, you know. And it's like, you know, when you think about it, in reality, teachers aren't even teaching what they know. They're teaching like what the school is giving them the information. Like the school system in itself is giving the teachers what they need to teach us. You know what I mean? For the most part. And so it's just like, where even is this information coming from? You know, I think when we think about history, it's like, that's his story, that's not yours. You know, so it's like, I'd say just, you know, I want to wrap up this video by saying, just question everything, man. Like, don't take everything as how you see it. You know what I mean? People will call you a conspiracy theorist, but you have to think the CIA came up with that word back in like it was a while ago, but they came up with it to make people look weird for questioning things outside of the box that we're shown from media. You know, it's like, why don't they talk about the Black kings and queens that were on this earth before they got taken over? You know what I'm saying? Like real shit. Why aren't they talking about how we all come from Ethiopia? You know what I mean? We're all Black. You know, like, why don't they talk about that? But yeah, so with that being said, guys, I hope you guys gained like value from this video. It was a little bit more of a serious video. I just wanted to kind of inform you guys and let you guys know what's going on, you know, and I hope that you can just gain any sort of value from this video. But yeah, with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. I love you guys so much. If you guys enjoyed this content, feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Share it with a friend if you gained value with this video. And yeah, with that being said, guys, have a wonderful afternoon, morning, or night. And peace, love, and happiness, y'all.